It's going to be used for, mainly for promotional activities. And yeah, I wanted to welcome all of you to this session, very interesting session we're having today, the first for the PT lab, as we call it at Polis, the public transport lab that we are launching. It's going to be a series of webinars on the future of public transport. So this is the first one, and we are very happy to have Cristina Pou, the head of road transport at the Generalitat de Catalunya, and also Josep Mencion, director of the Bus Central Services Division from TMB in Barcelona. And they're going to be talking and presenting the cases of BRTs and BHLS buses that they are implementing there. And just before starting with the presentations, a couple of housekeeping rules. So as I mentioned, the session is going to be recorded. Also, after the presentations, there's going to be a discussion and in a sort of panel discussion, so everybody is able to speak. Just during the presentations, make sure that your microphone is muted, so we do not talk you don't interrupt the presenters, the speakers. And yeah, as we have some limited time, we only have an hour. If you have a question, please try to keep it short, and so we have time for many questions and many different arguments. So now I'll give the floor to Ivo, who's gonna explain a little bit more about the PT Lab and what we are trying to do at Polis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alonso. Also, thank you and Juliet for preparing the webinar, and Jonathan also. I'll be very brief. I'm Director of Policy and Projects at Polis, so we try to fit everything we do also in a bigger strategic agenda. And for public transport, this is crucial in the coming years, I think. We have a number of EU policy files that are on its way or are currently under implementation that highly depend on where public transport plays an important factor. The Social Climate Fund will be an instrument that will distribute funding to member states to cover for the negative impacts of climate transition policies, and transport poverty is one element there, and public transport is an answer to these to the question that is to that problem of transport poverty. There is legislation in the under implementation on the kind of buses we can and kind of vehicles we can use for public transport in the Fit for 55 package. We will discuss multimodal digital mobility services in new legislation that will define the frameworks for combining information across modes, but also integrating ticketing across modes. And we also have a very important sustainable urban mobility planning obligation by 2027 for 430 urban nodes under 10T, where of course public transport also plays an essential part. So all of this it depends highly on how we define and how we look at public transport. And it's in this series, this PT Lab series, that we try to find the answers to a number of questions that you find in the next slide, Alonso. It's about the challenges we see for this sector, how public transport is evolving through time, finding new solutions for these challenges, and also how the EU level can answer to these questions and also enhance or accelerate the evolution that is needed in the sector. And on my final slide, next slide, you see a number of actions that we have taken, are taking also to have that discussion. We have launched a letter with a number of stakeholders towards the new European Parliament, where we ask to prioritize public transport as a sector in their activities in the next years. We have been part of a process under the expert group on urban mobility to write a number of recommendations on public transport under the leadership of Françoise Gaspard from Île-de-France Mobilité, and also with contributions of our colleague Laura. We have the public transport lab, as you are seeing at the moment, and also we are involved in two strategic projects under Horizon Europe, the EBRT 2030 project, where you will hear more from today, and also the upper project. And all of this is in the good hands of Melina, our colleague, who is is leading the Access Working Group. So I'll leave it at this, but just for you to understand, this is part of a bigger story that we try to write with Polis, redefining public transport and trying to also make this into a policy story for the European Union. Alonso, the floor is yours again. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, Ivo. I think on this, we can go straight to the first presentation. So I'll give the floor to Josep, and we'll hear about the Bus Network Premium from TMB.
Okay, thank you, Alonso. Good morning, everyone. My name is Josep Mencion. I'm Director of Bus Central Services at TMB. I joined TMB in 1999, so for 35 years I've been working to TMB in the bus admission. Please, next slide. And in the last minutes, I will be talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. In the next minutes, I will be talking about well, our initiative to change our bus schemes in the last decade and currently. So first, an introduction, just to let you know about the ideas, the causes for changing our network, and then I will present the new TMB bus network schemes. I will be talking about the premium routes and also the express routes, and finally, recent initiative. We are very enthusiastic with this project. We are trying to transform our route H12 into a BRT, harnessing about the subsidy from the European Union. Please, next slide. Okay, well, we will be back in time in well, 2012, but before, and we wanted to change our bus network. Well, when I say we, I mean we together, TMB together with the City Council. In fact, our former bus network was we provided a very good service, but only from the city center to the outskirts. And the routes where service, in fact, was quite redundant, and a lot of routes ran through the same corridors. The only way to increase in ridership was by adding more resources. And finally, well, here in the metropolitan region of Barcelona, our authority, the ATM, set an integrated fare system in 2001, but there were no layout changes since then. And it was a very complex network, of course, even for a frequent user. For all of these reasons, TMB and City Council decided to step and change our network, our bus network, keeping the strength and overcoming the weaknesses, and trying to increase its efficiency, increase the ridership, and improve the quality of service. Please, next slide. Well, that was our former route. Sorry, our former network. it's a little bit of a mess. Nobody can harness, well, nobody, maybe the frequent users, but nobody can retain more than, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 routes. So the idea of using 2 or more routes for your trips from one corner to the other of the city was very difficult. So please, next slide. So well, we we study a lot. We did a lot of research. We together with the university, and finally we study a triple model. Let's say it's like we have 3 networks in one. So from the well, we started in 2012, but our studies were carried out before, and with the idea to have a premium network, and together with a conventional network, conventional bus routes, and finally, of course, our local routes. Nowadays, we, apart from the HV and D grid routes that were defined and were implemented in the last decade, now we started to implement what we call express routes. And we have as premium routes the HV and D routes, and also Express X1 and Express X2 from 2022 and 2024. Apart from this, we have also our conventional routes, the routes that more or less survive from the enormous change in the last decade, and more or less our local service is more or less the same, but we introduce our buses on demand from well, we started in 2019, and so far we have implemented up to 5 areas, 5 services. Please. Well, just to let you know about the size of our agency, we run 1,140 buses, and we have more than 2,600 stops, and we run 103 routes and 5 services of on-demand buses. Last year, we did more than 200 million validations, which is a lot, in which more or less is very close to the let's say the record, the figure that we did in 2019. And these 1,140 buses are split in 4 depots. And about the type of our buses, well, by the end of 2024, we foresee that more or less 25% of our vehicles will be zero emissions, with 190 BEV buses, let's say battery electric buses, and 46 hydrogen buses. Please, next slide. Next slide. Well, at that time, when we started and we studied our implementation of the new bus network, we wanted to change at all levels, and we wanted to take care a lot of our customers, and we wanted to improve their customer journey experience at all levels, before leaving, at the bus stop, on board the buses, at the transfers, and upon arrival. So we studied a lot of actions to improve information, improve service information, but also municipal information. We created and we implemented some tactile screens. We improve our static information. We implemented more panels at the shelters, at the bus stops, and on board the buses. We try to also increase our real-time passenger information. We created a special signposting at the transfers, and upon arrival, well, customers have at their disposal a lot of information about, again, the service and also the municipal information. Please, next slide. Well, in terms of satisfaction, well, the last campaign, the last customer satisfaction survey is quite satisfactory because we score more than 8 points as global satisfaction, and well, our let's say our premium routes, our horizontal, vertical, and diagonal routes, together with our express routes, score 8.15 points. So that's a lot. So we are very glad of showing these results, these figures, because, well, in fact, what we did was what our customers wanted. Because they want for sure that the bus arrive on time, the bus arrived quickly at the stops, and well, and also that the buses arrive very soon to the destination. In terms of overall satisfaction, we score a lot, and in terms of customer satisfaction ratio, of course, the ratio is also well, very close to 80 points. So again, we score a lot of good results, and well, as you can see on the charts. We, of course, not only was bad during the pandemic, because you know, with a lot of less demand and less the traffic density, our buses run perfectly. So the customer satisfaction ratio of 2020 was very high, but little by little we are more or less approaching these figures. This next slide. Talking about the premium routes, well, at that time we wanted to design and implement a faster routes, faster services, easier to use, with maximum connectivity and better intermodality between not only buses but also metro and tramway, with a very good headway. Our premium routes, vertical, horizontal, and diagonal, run at a minimum of 8-minute headway during a wide service span between 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we wanted to define and implement comfortable transfer areas, because this is, let's say, a toll of our network. But we wanted, well, that the customers can go, when they arrive at the first stop, they find a better signposting that lets them know how to get the transfer stops. And of course, all of this was done gradually. So at a ratio of 4 or 5 routes per year. Finally, we completed the project in 2018. So 7 years. 7 years of hard work. But finally, we implemented a very powerful premium network. Please, next slide.
Josep, just
Yeah.
you have 3 minutes left.
3 minutes. So well,
Yeah.
so let's go further. Please, next slides. You can advance until next, please. Next. Because I want to comment the BRT project. So this is, well, I commented that we implemented 2 express routes to transport people at a higher speed. And finally, I want to talk about EBRT 2030, which is a project we started in 2023, and consisting in transforming the line H12. Next slide, please. Into a BRT. Next slide. Route H12 is the route super straight, running through the Gran Via corridor in Barcelona and Avenida de Gran Via in Hospitalet, that transport more or less more than 22,000 people every day. And we wanted to do that, please, next slide, with three big actions. We will transform, in fact, we are transforming, we are already transforming this route in a full electric route. We are more or less at 80% of this transformation. We wanted to improve its regularity, and also we want to improve the customer experience, improving the real-time passenger information on board the buses, and also trying to know at any time the demand of the buses at the stops. And that's all from my part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josep, and sorry for rushing you at the end, but I think it was super interesting, and we get the big idea and the big transformation that was done in Barcelona. And from this, we're gonna move to the presentation of Cristina on the more regional level, on the Express Cat interurban bus network. So I'll give the floor to Cristina.
Thank you, Alonso, and good morning, everybody. As Alonso has just said, we are quite different from TMB. TMB is more urban, suburban network, and we deal with a regional network, the access to the capitals of Catalonia. So next slide. We will talk about the general information of the Express Cat network, then the results, the collaboration with municipalities, and the second phase we have just started. So let's start with general information. As you can see here, you can see, for example, that in Catalonia we have more than 800 bus lines. My colleague Josep, for example, from TMB, they have 100 lines. So you can understand the complexity to deal with all these lines. We have more than 1,600 vehicles, and we had 60 million trips per year. It was 10 years ago. This was the situation 10 years ago. Then we decided we want to evolve, like TMB and like a lot of public transport companies in Europe and in the world. So what we made is to choose. We chose the 43 lines, the most important lines. So between the 800 lines, we chose the 43 lines, which represented the 45% of demand, with 35 users per expedition, and we have a territorial coverage in all Catalonia. Next slide, please. So the main when we talk about Express Cat line, what we are talking about? We are talking about a new product with a new brand, very important, more frequency to get to the capitals of Catalonia. We improved the stops, faster lines, completely accessible, real-time information in the stops, eco-friendly, free Wi-Fi, and complementary service with the train. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's the map of Catalonia. We have the 4 provinces, Barcelona, Girona, Tarragona, and Lleida. And what we have made during the last 10 years is implement all these express lines. As you can see, in Barcelona, we have 25 express lines that connect the medium cities around Barcelona to Barcelona, the same in Girona and the same in Tarragona and Lleida. So we finished last year to implement the 43 express cat lines. Next slide, please. As you can see, as I have told you, we created a new product, and a new product implies a new brand, the Express Cat. And we implement the Express Cat in the vehicle, in the bus shelters, in the bus stops, in the leaflets, everywhere. So in Barcelona, people can see the buses is the most important, let's say, because it's more visual. So in Barcelona, people can identify very easy the Express product. Next one. The results. Okay, the demand. Let's say we started in 2012. You can see we had an increase of demand. In 2029, we achieved the 24 million users per year, but then COVID arrived. And then we have increased since COVID, and now we are in the historical maximum of users of demand with 27 million users. And in 2024, it will be another historical maximum. Okay. So that's what the travel's opinion, 8.1. 8.1. I think that Josep more or less mentioned that they had more or less the same number in their premium network. So people believe in this network, and they use and all the complements we include in the network. They use it, and they give us a good point. Sustainability also, we are reducing emissions, and here you have some figures of the reduction of annual emissions valued with more than 1 million euros. Next slide. Contributions. As you can see, in 2019, we invested 13 million euros, and in 2024, 21 million euros. It's an increase of almost 62%. But what is 22 million euros? It's nothing. In our department, our budget is about 3,000 millions, our department. So what is 21,000 million? It's nothing. So we can, there is a political commitment, and as I will explain you later, we will define the second phase. Collaboration. I wanted to make this part, to explain you this part, because it's very important for us. It's a collaboration of the municipalities. When we implement an Express Cat line, we need the help of the municipality. For example, Vic, for example, Igualada, or whatever. And they help us in 3 stages. In the planification, they help us with the routes, the stops, timetables. Then with the measures, they give us traffic light priority, elimination of parking lanes, bus lanes, park and rides, better access to stops, and then, and very important, the dissemination of the service through the website, social networks, digital press, channels, whatever. And I will give you now an example. Next slide. An example of one of our express lines where we had the help of more than more or less 6 municipalities. So in the aspect of planification, they helped us to define the timetables, the stops, the frequency, so the people needs. As you can see here in the map, this is a line. There are, as you can see, very few stops, and then it goes directly to Barcelona, where we have 3 stops in Barcelona. In the next slide, measures. What did they do? This is an example. They gave us priority in the traffic lights, and they also erased some parking lanes. And for example, in the next slide, you will see also an improvement, well, not an improvement, this is a construction of park and rides. As you can see in the picture, here there is a stop, sorry, the last one. Here there is a stop of express line of Valdetenas, and behind it you can see the cars. This is a park and ride. Okay, so we have quite a lot of park and rides in this line. And the next slide. Here you can see some improvements, the before and after of bus stops. As you can see, for example, the last one, there was the car lane, the parking lane, sorry, and they took out all the parking lane and they constructed a new bus stop for us. Next slide. Dissemination. Here you can see the newspapers and well, there was a lot of dissemination about this express line. Then the next one, second phase, and I finish with the second phase. As I explained you, we have finished the first phase with 43 lines, which represents the 45 demand of our services. So we want to improve the competitiveness of these lines and the new ones, and guarantee the access to different medium and small cities of the region, and with sustainable mobility. Next slide, please. And here you have, well, you don't know the names, but here, for example, in the second phase, we have more than 20 lines more in Barcelona that we will implement. The next one. In Tarragona, we have 7 more express lines. In Lleida, we have 4 more express lines. And in Girona, we have 5 express lines. And we have defined the next one, please. Some lines that cross the region of Catalonia. 3 lines that cross the region of Catalonia. Next one, yes, please. And we have already started with the second phase. We have implemented 2 express cut lines. The first one is the E25. As you can see, we use E Express, as I mentioned before. It's a very fast line with only 3 stops, as you can see in the map. And in Igualada, the last stop on the top, there is a university and also the train. So we have coordinated the timetables with the entrance and exits of the university and with the train. And the next one, which is the last slide, I think, is the E26, that as you can see in the beginning in the map, on the top of the picture, you can see the different stops. There are not many, and then it goes directly to Barcelona with 3 stops, where we have transfers and intermodality with the different services in Barcelona. So nowadays, let's say in short, that we have 43 express cat lines, bus lines. We will implement 43 more, and nowadays we have already implemented 2 of them. And what I wanted to tell you, as you have seen, is that the budget is not a problem. I mean, in departments like ours, let's say what we spend in constructing the metro lines, we could make a lot of express lines. So that's all from my part, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christina and Josep. Well, I see Ivo has a question already, but if you have a question, just raise your hand or write in the chat, and I can promote you to a panelist, which will enable you to put your camera and to ask your question. I can also do that for all panelists, but as it's a webinar, I mean, for all webinar attendees, but I just don't want to put someone's camera who doesn't want to. I'm going to give, okay. So we have a first question. Ende has been promoted as a panelist, so she should be able to.
Yeah.
You can, yeah, put your camera or not and ask your question.
Oh, okay. The floor, the mic is mine, so I can ask my question.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Go ahead.
Thank you both for the very interesting presentation. So I had a question for Mrs. Christina Pu. And I was wondering what was, since the implementation of the express cars, what is the modal ratio? Do you have some data about the modal ratio since the implementation of this express cars, or it was clear maybe in the chat?
Sorry, what is modal ratio?
For example, people, I don't know how to explain it. So people using this express instead of their car, their personal car.
Okay.
So do you
Okay,
have
thank you. Sorry, Aita, sorry.
It's
Sorry.
okay. So
Yes.
it's the first question, and I was wondering what is a part of this express in the daily journeys. For example, for people living in peri-urban or in rural zones, what is a part? Do you have some data available about that? And the third question, because in France we have this project of implementing these express cars in the express metropolitan express services. So I was wondering about the funding. So how much money did you spend for the implementation, and was it easy? And yes, I'm very curious about your return of experience.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your question, Aita. The thing is that there has been a modal shift. I mean, people are leaving their cars in the park and rides that we have implemented, and they are using the express lines because they are very reliable. And they have, apart of that, they are very reliable. They have free Wi-Fi. The experience of the user is very good. And as I mentioned before, we have 8.1, the traveler's opinion. And the thing is that as we connect let's say the medium cities of the counties, most people arrived to the express cut lines by car they leave the car in the county, and then they use the express cat bus line to go to Barcelona, because it's very, I mean, their experience is very good. So there has been a model shift from cars to buses.
Okay, and
Then,
there's a question about the funding.
yeah, the funding. Yeah, as I mentioned before, nowadays, for example, in 2024, we have we have invested 24 million euros for the running of the network. And as you can see, 24 million euros, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's money, of course, it's money. But if we compare with other kind of transport services, it's quite nothing. So what is true is that every year we spend much more. For example, for next year, I think that we will go to 28 million euros. And if our politician, because there is a political commitment, because nowadays when we go to a city, they always ask for express cat line. And if we continue implementing the phase 2, maybe the funding would double. So we could go to 50 or 55 million euros.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So thank you for the question. We have a second one on the chat from Camila Garcia. I can read it for you if you want. So it's for the second presentation, so I guess it's again for you, Christina. And it says, what is the model for fares? What is the financial compensation? From who? Yeah, there's many questions together. Then the authority for this service, is it regional? Which I think it is. Is this a contract? Which type? And yeah, so I think we can start with the first questions about the model for fares, the financial compensation, etc. You're muted, Christina.
As you have just said, Alonso, the authority is the government of Catalonia, so it's a regional system, not the cities, but the government of Catalonia. And then about the fares, all of the lines that we have implemented are integrated in a ticketing system with sorry, I don't know the name now. I mean that integrated ticketing, sorry. All the lines are included in integrated ticketing systems. So although the Express CAT is, let's say, like Josep has said, is a premium service, no? The user pays the same than the conventional lines. I mean, you don't have to pay more. Okay. And the other question, sorry, Alonso?
Yeah, the second part of the question is about the contract. Is this a contract? Which type? Does the contract only include the express lines or also other regional lines?
Okay. Okay, our system, I haven't explained you, our system in Catalonia, it's a concessional system. We have more or less 50 operators, private operators, and more than 100 concessions. So what we do is that when we want to implement one express cat bus line, we go to the private operator who is who works in this part of Catalonia, and then we deal with them or all the and the municipalities, of course, all how to implement the line, how improve the line, and all the systems. So we work with the private operators and with the concessional system.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for Josep. So this webinar is titled "The Return of the Bus," and one of the questions we were asking ourselves was there's a revamp of the image of the bus, and the kind of reputation of the bus is changing in European cities, notably for the electrification. And we were wondering, what is the role of this bus in the mobility network? Does it act as a feeder to the metro? Is it really its own separate high capacity mode? I mean, how do you conceptualize this bus? And linked to this question is also the question of public consultation. We know that there was a very thorough process in Barcelona with the public, and how does this all work together?
Okay. First question. Nowadays we are moving every day, every working day, more than 800,000 people. So we are not, let's say, a service, let's say, a minority service. We are we are not a complementary service. We have our market, and we have our let's say our users and this is going up and up. So in fact, nowadays we are dying of success because our demand is going up and up, and we are, of course, we are designing. We have a service planning, another service plan for the near future, because we envisage an increase in demand for the coming month. And of course, we are working with, well, we are having a very big effort trying to electrificate our business, our network. So this is a big effort because, the investments are higher than, of course, non-zero emission vehicles, especially, we harness about subsidized from the administration, but the idea is to in the medium term, 30 something. I'm not going to say which is this something, but by 30 something, sorry, 2030, I mean, 30 something, we will run off our 100% zero emission buses. So the idea is, but we have to, as you can probably know, for running BEV buses, we need to add an extra number of buses for our operations. So it's not easy. It's more expensive, and we need more space to, let's say, to store and to maintain these buses. So, and we have to build another pump station in terms of power station. So it's difficult, but we will try to to fulfill with the expectations for the medium-term future, and we will try to electrify or have all our buses zero emissions. Another second question, please. Can you repeat?
The second question was, I mean, we're also working as part of the EBRT project, and we had read that there had been quite a lot of public consultations in the development of these new lines. And I was wondering if you wanted to touch upon that, if TMB was involved in this, or how important it is in changing fundamentally a bus network, not fundamentally, but growing a bus network.
So far, we didn't achieve, let's say, big, let's say, figures in terms of commercial speed. Our buses run at very slow commercial speed because we stop a lot. We have a lot of commercial stops, and we stop also at the traffic lights. So the idea is to try to to increase a little bit the commercial speed, and skipping several intersections. The idea is to we are connecting the two control centers, the municipal control center and the bus control center, just to make possible requests for traffic light priority. So because we want to to increase the quality and the speed of the buses of footage 12, and we want to create let's say a corridor, a powerful corridor, similar on the Gran Via, because Catalana is similar to the diagonal corridor with the tram. So with more than 800,000 people every day, we have to provide a more efficient service, because otherwise, and we have to use say the ITS and whatever technique that that make us possible to run buses at higher speed and more regulated, etc., just to attract people, but also transport people at high quality. And for the coming years, it is foreseen also a very big increase in population in the region. So for the first time in the medium term, the Catalonia will have more inhabitants than Andalusia. So we will surpass 8 million people in the coming years. That means that the metropolitan area of Barcelona will increase its population. So and the mobility, if things are more or less expected as Maurice goes as expected, will also increase. So the idea is to keep on defining and providing a very good service on the surface, because of course we will have a very reliable metropolitan service, the subway or underground, but on the surface, we also wanted to create some, of course, with the allowance of the city council, we want to define and run powerful corridors with our buses, high capacity buses. We have 18-meter buses, which is I think the size of that better fits in the city, and we want to continue operate a very powerful surface transport public, which is not the subsidiary of the railroad transportation. So it has its own customers and its own let's say segment of population.
Great, thank you, Josep. We have one last question from Andrew. So we have it on the chat, but you can go ahead and ask it.
And please present yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Ertico.
I'm here, yeah. Hello, it's Andrew Winder at Ertico ITS Europe. Thank you both for your presentations, very interesting. I was in Barcelona last week, so I was very impressed by the transport system for another EU project on EV charging. So my question was about integration with rail and bus. So I know you have it to a certain, quite a good extent in Catalonia, but in places where they have express buses, in some countries, the preference is to run them direct to the city centre, and in others, it's more preferred to run them to maybe a node on the edge of the city with a good metro or rail terminal where people can go to different places in the city. My view is for smaller cities, they would go direct into the city because there's less congestion and there isn't so much of a local network. In a city like Barcelona, which is really big and has a very comprehensive metro and tram system, do you not wish to maybe not have so many buses in the city centre and have transfer outside? Or what is your preference on that? Or to have destination directly in the city?
Okay. I will try to explain you.
Yeah.
As you have been able to see in the presentation, for example, the two last express lines that we have implemented, they had 3 stops in Barcelona. No? The first stop, which is let's say the more outsider, is next to the metro, always.
Yeah.
Next to the metro station. So people, if they want, they can leave the express cut and go to the metro. And then we keep going into the city and we finish the line in the center of the city, more or less. Why? A lot of people would say, no, it's enough with 1 stop next to the metro station. No, a lot of people could say that. No, but you have to think also that these people, they are coming from, let's say, 40 kilometers away of Barcelona. So they have wake up very early. They have taken the car to the express line. So the multimodality. Then again also multimodality. And they come to Barcelona and get the metro. And people don't like multimodality in general. So,
I agree that it depends. Yeah, people don't like changing so much. And
exactly.
I would say also it's maybe worse going home because if you're coming into the city, you get off and there's a metro every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, it's okay. But going back home and the buses were every half hour, every hour, and you just miss one and it's late evening, you don't want to spend nearly an hour waiting at a suburban metro station. So that's attractive as well. This makes sense for evening, depends on frequency, but I know different cities have different approaches.
So what we have tried to do is for those people who want to change to metro, we have the first stop next to the metro, and then for those who don't want to make intermodality, we go into the city, to the center city.
Okay.
Because we have seen also that we have made surveys and a lot of our users work around the city center. So they just walk 10 minutes or 15 minutes and they are in their jobs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So thank you very much, everyone. I think we can close the session with this question. There's many topics and many questions we could raise on these 2 cases. Sadly, we only had 1 hour today, and I don't want to take more time from everyone. Thank you a lot, Christina and Josep, for accepting our invitation to present. If you agree, we can send your presentations to the crowd, to the people that connected, the digital crowd, and for them to ask more questions if they want. And please be aware that this type of webinars will be happening regularly from Polis side. This is just the first of a series, as I mentioned at the beginning. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice start to the week, and see you in the next webinar.
Bye.
Bye and thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Mm.